Happy night tonight, everyone. Hello, hello, everyone on the call. I see I have 6 participants right now. Guys, congratulations for being here. Okay, no, we got 13, 14. Great, the numbers are absolutely climbing. Fantastic. Love seeing everybody participating on tonight's call. Just wanted to let you know that because of the time zone change, for those of you that are in North America, you may know we had daylight savings times yesterday. So our clocks actually went back an hour. So I think there was a bit of confusion on the corporate side with our wonderful team that does the hosting for the Zoom calls on Sunday. So they are going to be able to put us live in Facebook. We're calculating in about 10 minutes. It's not live on Facebook yet. So if you guys have anybody in your organizations, on your teams, anyone that maybe typically goes in through Facebook, then you want to message out to your team and let them know we are going to go live. If all goes well in about 10 minutes, we're just waiting for the moderator to get home and to start the Facebook Live, which is ultimately what we want to record, because what will happen is that anybody who didn't jump on tonight's call will be able to catch it when they jump on our Facebook Live. So right now what we're going to do is we're just going to communicate with all of you wonderful participants that are totally on time, ready to rock, ready to get in here and listen in on all the goody, great stuff I'm going to bring down the pipeline. So I want to welcome everyone. If you guys, again, have a team thread that you have within your organizations, if it's a messenger chat group that you have, if it's a Facebook group you have with your teams, whatever way you guys communicate, I would strongly suggest that, you know, if your team's going to log in tonight, get your phones out, give them a quick message of, hey, you know what, the Zoom is on now live, but the Facebook Live will be going on in about 10 minutes. So like I said, I'm just working with corporate and to actually formally begin our presentation. I made some awesome slides, guys. Like the slide, I'm getting so pumped up every time I get to do a chat like this, because the first person that gets reignited and re-inspired is me. And that's why in network marketing, they say, you know, the person that holds the marker makes the money. It's absolutely true. We're vibrational beings. We're going to touch on that tonight. It's all about changing your paradigm. So I'm letting the cat out of the bag in advance, but I'm letting you know that I love pulling out good content. It's also about re-engaging with information. Right now, there's so many great tips and tools that we learn along the path of our career in Organo and our career in network marketing. And right now, you know, it's always about re-engaging and kind of getting familiar with that information again and again and again. And that's how our brains learn. They learn through repetition. So tonight we're going to be talking about changing your paradigm. I've got some great homework, some tips that we actually talked about a little bit in our Sunday morning training. And that Sunday morning training, we actually do a very intimate training, more hands-on, one-on-one group training every first Sunday of the month. That's actually led by our team, Dr. Paul and Nancy, Rocking Rubies in Toronto. Totally visionaries. Were able to see the vision when I casted this concept of Organo growing globally, and how, you know, I was really excited about a product that was changing people's lives, that was empowering people, that was shifting their health, shifting their paradigms, and stretching people and becoming the best version of themselves, having a vehicle for change, for inspiration, and for great culture and community. So that's essentially what we do in our market. And again, I encourage everyone on tonight's Zoom to go ahead and do that. So while we're waiting for Facebook Live to catch up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can screen share. Let's see if that's possible. I think, yeah. So I'm going to pull up the share page, and I'm going to go to my screen. Let's see if I can share. We'll get that going. Great. So I'm going to, you know, I don't really want to start tonight's presentation yet until we get the live up and running. So maybe what I'll talk about is a campaign that I decided to host here in Toronto. So you know what, this is going to be a great tidbit of information, and let's call this a bonus session for anyone that decided to jump on tonight through Zoom because you guys are on time and because you're here. What I'm thinking we're going to do is I can potentially pull up that campaign, which I think has been such a beautiful, beautiful addition to our market growth. And here it is. So guess what, guys? You guys are in for a fantastic bonus for being here on the Zoom. So I decided to create something called the Winter Mixer Madness. For those of you on the call that may know me, you probably already know that I have decided to become part of Eric Worre's mastermind group, to just start taking our company and our vision and our profession to the next level. And one of the pieces of advice that Eric Worre gave us, and again, this is just a bonus session for those of you that are just jumping on the Zoom tonight. We are waiting for corporate to catch up with the time zone differences. We have the moderator that didn't know that it was daylight savings times tonight, so he's not in his space to be able to share live on Zoom. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you guys a little preview, a little taste of a campaign that I held here in the city that's been phenomenally successful until I hear back from corporate when we go live, and then I'll go into the formal presentation. So essentially what I decided to do was something called a campaign around something called Winter Mixer Madness. I'm not a big fan of winters in Toronto. It gets cold here. I decided that one of the ways that I could best share with my team was do what I did to really get myself off the ground and running for Sapphire. And it all happened when I started to understand that network marketing was real, that there were people in other companies making incredible income, and that I had to get out of my comfort zone. And in that time frame, what I did was I did mixers in every single living room that I know of, also known as organo presentations. I like to call them socials. Socials are a great indirect way to expose the product and the opportunity to people in a way that's really casual and playful. And socials right now happen to be a really big trend when it comes to network marketing. We're seeing a lot of top income earners around the world using socials as a strategy. This was something that I did because it was comfortable for me to go into a person's space and say, hey, you know what? We're going to host a coffee tasting event. And that's exactly what I did. Was I started hosting coffee tasting events around the world, globally. I am doing them globally now. Let's rewind that. I'm hosting coffee tasting events in my city, in my backyard. And because we started doing that, people started tasting the product. They were enjoying, they had questions. It was super casual, it was super interactive. And we started having a lot of great momentum. People were signing up as customers. They were buying product. They were wholesale buyers, but we were getting engagement. We were getting people in the funnel. This was a great way to launch my business. I realized over the time, high touch is very powerful. Technology, unfortunately, is where everyone's going now. And there's a good thing and a bad thing about it. Technology allows us to leverage, but I find what's happening now and what we're seeing as the trend in network marketing is that a lot of people are hiding behind the technology only. And we're losing that leadership touch in being able to have high touch, high impact, one-on-one group settings. That's when you have the emotional exchange, the vibrational exchange with other people. And because I built this essentially away from social media, this is why I knew that mixers / presentations / socials really are effective, and they are still effective today. I think they're actually timeless. The human connection is getting lost more every day now, and we want to have that connection globally around the world. So Winter Mixer Madness was a campaign we held. And like I said, my story was where I just decided after I came back from my major event that I knew that network marketing was real, that the income was real, that it was life-changing, that there were other big earners out there making great income. And I decided it was time to just get that plane off the ground. And I just built from living room to living room. So the whole concept with the Winter Mixer Madness is a mini campaign I'm holding for my team. And the whole idea here is to give you guys some ideas while we're waiting for Facebook Live to join us and catch up with tonight's presentation. I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a preview as to what I'm doing here in the market that can actually work in your market. So I actually have leaders in Mexico that are doing the same thing, right? Just engaging, having that connection, tasting the product, answering questions, cracking jokes, making smiles, and then funneling the people to the next exposure, right? It's really about the high touch. And what we found with direct sales and network marketing, so I'm gonna remove that because I realize that's in the middle of the screen, is that it all really boils down to 3 tiers: systems, campaigns, that's usually made for the masses. The second one is something called skills. And then the third one really is leadership development. And those are the 3 stages that you're gonna go through in your business. If you've been here for a while, you probably already are familiar with this type of industry. You know that there's gonna be a bunch of people joining, and you're gonna have systems and campaigns that are gonna keep them there. Systems usually have to be somewhat fearless for the individuals to do. They got to feel like it's easy. Everyone knows it. Everyone does it. You know, things like the 4 steps to success. That's a perfect example of a system. A campaign like the campaign we had last month where you could join wholesale for $9 in the US or $12.50 in Canada. We had promotions and campaigns that allow the masses to share on a mass scale using rapid funnels, right? So that was one way that you get the masses going. However, skills is where when you stay in the business for a while, you start to understand this isn't a lottery ticket. It's like a gym membership. You actually have to start get those skills into alignment. And then of course there's leadership development. Leadership development is really where the Holy Grail is at. And that's what really rocked my world. When I saw my first event, when I attended GoPro Recruiting Mastery, I saw so many people making incredible income, having incredible turnaround stories. They were just totally rocking it. And I realized leadership is really where it's at in network marketing. You know, unless you've made 6 to 7 figures in network marketing before, you probably don't know what you're doing. And you probably come in with a skill set that's going to be super valuable and it's going to help you get you off the ground. But ultimately, you're going to have to go through a process and learning how true network marketing, true leadership is done, how it's done effectively, and how it really is how things really work in this industry. So leadership development is what we're looking to achieve in this market, especially right now in Organo. And here's why. There's been a turbulent year straight up. You know, people have had a lot of changes. There's been product shortages. There's been changes in so many different areas of the company. But here's what I know. Every single company will go through massive turbulence in every cycle. It's just a matter of when. And the question is, do you have what it takes to handle the turbulence, to step up as a leader, to arm your team with what's going to happen? That's ultimately what we want to do, is we want to teach people to have true leadership skills and learn how to navigate through the challenging moments in network marketing. So just a heads up for those of you that are joining the Zoom, I'm giving everyone a preview of something personal I'm doing here in the campaigns department for Toronto for our local team. I'm beta testing this and it's actually proven to be really, really powerful. It really boils down to the skill set, which is mixers in the 4 steps to success, which is really where the income's at. And that's where I was focusing on, is leadership development. We need leaders in Organo to continue developing. So if you're on this call and it's your first day in, welcome. This is a real business. It's going to stretch your world. Stay open, stay coachable, stay hungry, stay excited. If you are been around the business for a few months, 6 months, a year, if you're a VIP, if you're platinum elite, guys, this is yours for the taking. Start stretching, start sharpening those knives in your leadership development, because this is where the Holy Grail is at. So I'm giving everybody a little bit of a preview of the campaign I'm doing. I will jump into tonight's presentation on paradigms. And essentially these 2 presentations are going to marry each other. But what I'm doing is I'm waiting for corporate to just get us live on Facebook, because we're not live yet. And what will happen was that I will jump into the actual formal presentation for tonight. So for those of you on Zoom, I'm just giving you a little bit of a share of what I'm doing tonight, right now in the market, like right now, that has scored us as a team. You know, we got a new global incentive, global growth winner. We have a new Sapphire in the team because of this campaign, leadership development. We have new VIPs. We have new platinum elites. We have about 400 people that joined our business with the campaign that we used last month. And it really is about driving that leadership. So we want to be able to now, again, get people through the funnel. What's a system and a campaign? We'll talk about that in today's presentation. Rapid funnels, 4 steps to success. It could be the campaign that we did last month. You know, every time Organo has a campaign, it really is an awesome way to get your team up and striving towards a particular goal. And really, you know, what we want to do at the Mixer Madness campaign was to fill our calendar with socials. So what I always tell the team is your calendar is your boss. Your calendar is your boss. I can tell, and you know, your income based on basically what's going on in your calendar. That's one area that I remember learning when I launched my network marketing business, was what is in your calendar? How many mixers? How many socials? How many presentations? How many trainings for you and your team? If there's nothing booked in the next 2 weeks to a month, I can dictate where your income is going to be. And as soon as I started to understand that this concept was real, you see, the good thing about network marketing is you're your own boss. But the bad thing about network marketing is because you are your own boss, you're probably not going to want to do what it takes to get this puppy off the ground, or you'll get highly distracted, which is right now the number one biggest challenge when it comes to this particular business style, this particular lifestyle, and this particular life on this planet. There's just way too much distraction. So really, if it's in your calendar, chances are you're actually going to go do it. So what I got the team doing was I said, open up your calendar and start making the calls. Hey, when can I come over? I'd love to do a coffee tasting event. Hey, when can I come over? I'd love to do a BU party. Hey, when can I come over? I'd love to share some tips on travel. Like, find out what it is that you're passionate about in Organo. You got to pick something you're passionate about. Is it the products? Is it the skincare? Is it the travel? Because we are a wellness company. We are a company that's changing the world. We have beautiful verticals to dial in on. It's up to you to decide which one you're excited about. Open up your calendar and start filling in what you want to do for your team, what you want your team to do, and start to execute. You know, get people in there booked for appointment after appointment after appointment. I promise you, when I got most of the team running for these socials, and again, it was a volunteer, basis. I'm like, my question was, who wants to have a radically different summer? If you want a radically different summer, we're going to go full throttle all winter, all spring. And if that's the case, number one, I need you to open up your calendar and fill it. Fill it, fill it, fill it, fill it. And if you see an empty gap, hold your breath, because you don't want that to happen. So what happened was that we're starting to see a lot of momentum because of this. So this is something you can do within your teams, is hold mini campaigns, right? It's really, really powerful if you do so. I like getting people prepared for events. So really, learning how to invite for events. How are you going to make it playful? How are you going to make it really powerful? What tools will you need when you host your event? If you're going to do a BU party, what kind of products do you need there? Do you need little like washcloths? Do you need, some cotton pads, like aprons? Like, what tools do you need? If you're going to do a coffee tasting event, you might need cups and canteens and creamers and product for sale. So understand, what is it that you need, and what method are you going to do to present? Are you going to have a one-page, handout that maybe talks about some highlighted bullets, some stories that you can share within your team? Then go for it. It's really about story sharing. It's about connecting with people. You can do it through holding a handout, having a group of 5, 10, 6 people. It doesn't matter. If there's 1 or 2 or more, you have a beautiful grounds for a lovely connecting time and presentation. It really is about having the human touch and the human spirit happening. And then of course, you want to be able to be prepared for the events, definitely. We have something in our group called ATM, Ad Tag Message. Within Dr. Burkowski's team, we have a Facebook group that we created for our team and our prospects. We funnel them to a Facebook group and we educate them more around the product, around testimonials around the world. These are ideas you can share with your leaders. If you don't have something, and if you do, then use what works for you. But the question is, if you're a leader on this call or you've already developed a system, turn around and take inventory of who's in your organization right now and who's actually doing the work to funnel these people to the call, funnel these people to the group, to funnel these people to the training. Like, you have to look at who's new and how can you get that new person taking the next step. You might have some new budding IP, some platinums. Just because they reach a rank doesn't necessarily mean they're ready to be completely independent. Most people have never done network marketing before, that they're kind of deer in headlights. And some of them actually have, but their old companies, for whatever reason that they joined, had different systems. So it's really about figuring out how to really get that exposure process happening. And once you huddle your team, once you get them on a really powerful journey to, start going out into the market, filling up their calendars, you're going to see some serious momentum in your numbers, in your recruitment, in your product sales. And it's always about the reorders. It's always about the engagement. So one area that I always strive to remember for the new leader when they're doing talks and presentations and sharing is something called BAM-FAMing. That was a term developed by one of our older leaders that was very effective, and I still use it today. It's booking a meeting from a meeting. When you have an event, when you have a social, you want to be able to have, what is the next date? Where is the next event? Where is the next thing that they can go to that they might be excited about? Do you have a leader coming into your market that's going to be doing a presentation? Do you have maybe another social happening down the street? Maybe one of them would like to host one. But the purpose of a meeting is to book the next, because less than 2% of your participants are actually going to sign up on their first exposure. Most people, most prospects, most participants need between 4 and 12 exposures before they actually make a business decision. And that's where it really is leading the person from exposure to exposure to exposure. So if you don't have something booked, and this is why if you have a calendar that's filled out, you already know in advance where you're going to be next. Then the whole idea, if your team is really small, consult with the group. Hey, what did you love best tonight? Great. How about someone here host the next one? I'd be happy to come over and actually get that, presentation, social, beauty bar, showcase bar, whatever it is that you're doing, hosted by someone else. And now what you're doing is you're going into other people's networks, which is really what it's about. So this is a great time also to start using your new Organo app, the Rapid Funnels app. We all know that the fortune is in the follow-up. If you've never heard that saying before, very famous saying by Eric Worre. The fortune is absolutely in the follow-up. And that one is, I cannot tell you enough. If there's one piece of advice I could give tonight, that I could go back in time and probably do a little better, more effectively, and I probably would have had a better outcome. Who knows? We just don't know what we don't know. I would have been tighter with my follow-ups. I would have definitely would have, just really been organized. Like, who did I expose to, and who did my new team leaders expose to as well? Because if you have contact information for all the exposures, especially at the beginning, I always say it's becomes somewhat manageable when you get to about Sapphire. Once you're Ruby, it starts to get a little bit out of control. I mean, that was my experience. But if you can really have a system, whether it's a notebook, whether it's a spreadsheet, now with the app, how amazing is it to have the new app, the Rapid Funnels, right? This is really going to tidy up your exposure process and keep everybody in the loop and everybody absolutely organized. So what we want to do, and the benefits at flexing that leadership muscle, is really filling up your calendar and being the one to speak at your events. You want to be the one hosting. You want to be the one sharing. And like I said, it's okay to have a handout with some bullets and just let people know, look, I'm no expert. Here's what I know. Here's some stories that I know. Sharing testimonials, stories sell, facts tell. And that is so, so true. People love stories. And the one line I love the best is, you've got nothing to lose, so much to gain. And that's ultimately what we want. So the benefit of actually filling up your calendar, getting out there, doing a campaign for your team, with your team, is number one, you're going to grow your influence, right? The person that holds the marker makes the money. If you're out there with your groups and you're sharing, you're going to grow your influence. You're going to actually grow your team, because you're going to have your team watching you. So your team's going to do what you do, not what you say, which is the ideal. And then of course you're going to grow your income. And that's ultimately what you want to do, is to grow that income, because it all ties in together. Your influence will grow, your team will grow, your income will grow. And now you're getting excited because you're seeing momentum. But the best thing is your leadership shoes are actually being filled, which is what we need to take Organo 2.0 to the next level. Because right now, my friends, there is a wide open market around the world. We want to be able to get back in there, get in the playing field, and go hard and heavy. So your homework, at least our homework in the group, was to, let people know that if you're in on the campaign, it's okay to be a leader and host a campaign with your team, saying, you know what, who's in? Let's team huddle. And the ones that are in, let's work together and make this happen, and show the rest of the team that it's actually doable. I got my people to find an accountability buddy, because, it's always good to have someone to say, hey, what are you doing? Great. What am I doing? Great. That accountability is huge. It's huge in life. Decide how many mixers or socials or presentations, beauty bar showcases, whatever feels right for you, but decide how many a week you're going to commit to doing. Number 4, fill in your calendar, open it up, fill it up with events. What does February look like? We're past February now, but again, this was my presentation I did for the team. What does March look like? What does April look like? What does May look like? Start filling it up, because time will go like that. And the more exposures you have, I'm telling you, you're going to have a radically different summer if you're in North America. If you just hammer down and just get to work and let your calendar tell you where you got to be next. And then of course, the 5th one is preparing your questions for the next call. That's what I did as a leader. As I said, here's a campaign we're going to do as a team. Here's what we're striving to do. Here's what I would love the outcome for you guys. Here's how I grew the market. I didn't do it on social media. I'm not a social media expert by far. I know I got to get there one day or close to, but right now I love high touch. High touch, and if you know tech, high touch, high tech is absolutely where it's at. You know, and then I had them prepare questions for the next call because we were actually going to do a touch base. So I did do a follow-up on the Winter Mixer Madness. And then I did talk about how we want to focus on servant leadership, leadership that is really about serving the team. I love this picture because here you'll see, you know, someone that's running their business and acting like the boss and telling people what to do. That's not how it works. You have a willing army. And as a leader, I'm a big fan of letting everybody get inspired and lead their teams what feels organic to them. Also, a little bit of information. I learned this from one of our leaders, Mr. Nando, and I have to say it was an excellent piece of information. Sometimes I see a lot of new leaders and new people are like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm going to be, you know, Team Solano, Team Dianne. I'm never a fan of that at all. Why? Everybody wants to be their own boss. Nobody wants to be on your team. You got to imagine in a system, a business going to duplicate around the world where everybody is their own selves. Because ultimately what you want is independence. So that was a great piece of advice I still instill today. And I'm really conscious of making sure the rest of the teams know that, you know what, everyone is free to be who they are. Nobody wants to be controlled. That's why they went into this business, but you can motivate them, become a servant leader, help them, get in the field with them. Don't confuse true servant leadership with a pin earner. A pin earner is somebody that will probably rank it and then, you know, we'll jump back into doing things what they were doing. So I just got a message from corporate. We're going live on Facebook. So for those of you on Facebook, welcome to tonight's call. I have to apologize about the tardiness. We have a change in time frame here in North America. We're on daylight savings time. And because we're on daylight savings time, what happened was that we, you know, corporate actually messed up the time. So we're a little bit late going live. What I did was I started a mini preview presentation on a campaign that I'm running here in Toronto. So hopefully, you know, those of you that are on live on Facebook, welcome to the call. We're actually going to be recording this on live for those of you that are joining us now or were patient enough to actually wait for this call to actually pop up. So I'm going to let our current Zoom viewers know that that little bit of information that I shared with you while we got the live up and running in OG Family Worldwide was some little bit of insight. I guess we can call it a little bit of a bonus for those of you that actually decided to be there on time and join us right at the start of the hour. So here we go. We're merging the first presentation, little bonus preview for those people on Zoom, with our presentation for tonight. This is our Facebook Live, and this is how you roll. Sometimes you just never know where things are going. You just never know where technology can take you, but being prepared is definitely something you're going to want to do for your business, okay? So as I'm gathering my thoughts ready to shift for tonight's presentation, for those of you on Facebook, or if you want to jump on the Facebook, feel free to let me know your favorite beverage. I always love starting it that way. And let me know if there's a favorite View product that maybe you're using that you love, and maybe there's a Travala, you know, trip or really cool deal that you experienced that you might want to share. And I think it's great that we hear from each other and we come together as a culture and as a community, because ultimately what I would love for us, Organo family, is to join our forces, get stronger, and become the leaders. Let's step up into our leadership, because leadership is really where it's at. And I'm super excited tonight because I had a fantastic team training this morning with my power couple, Ruby, beautiful hearted souls and individuals, Dr. Paul Charlton and Nancy O'Brien. They were hosting the monthly first Sunday of every month. They hold an intimate training for the team across the board in Toronto from the comfort of their home, kind of hand holding 2 hours for all those people in the team to be able to come out and get some decent training. We do great training every week, but they really go in a little deeper just to layer on that high touch feeling. So while we're all getting organized and we're merging our Zoom with our Facebook Live, we're going to talk about tonight's call. It's the paradigm shift. I love energy. I am all about our thoughts create our reality. Guys, it is so real. The science is there. So tonight's conversation is going to be built around a paradigm shift and Bob Proctor's wisdom. So Bob Proctor is the lead teacher. He's a world-renowned coach. He's a world-renowned speaker. He's a best-selling author of many books, like You Were Born to Be Rich and many, many others. He was featured in The Secret. So if you haven't seen The Secret, watch it. If The Secret was too light for you, I'm a geek by nature. I needed to know more science. I chose the What the Bleep Do We Know Down the Rabbit Hole. That was an excellent documentary. But either way, it's about the principles of Napoleon Hill, which is Think and Grow Rich. And Bob Proctor is absolutely massive in our personal growth. And he's a huge master. And I actually think he's going to be a shapeshifter, definitely for those people on the earth right now that's exchanging these kinds of, new areas of knowledge that we're rediscovering about ourselves. So his quote here is, if your income today is much the same as it was 2 years ago, then it will be the same 2 years from now if the paradigm doesn't shift. And really, it's up to you to make a choice, because right now we know that you live your life at your free will. Free will is your gift on this world. And you can be so free that you can choose bondage. You can choose bondage in a relationship. That's what I did, unfortunately. You can use bondage in a dead-end job. You can choose bondage in relationships that don't serve you, friendships, whatever it is. But sometimes it's really about what our deeper subconscious programming is all about. And our conversation today is really about the paradigm shift action plan. We're going to come up with an action plan tonight to help you make that paradigm shift. I always start off with my story because I never like to assume that everybody knows me. I mean, there's a lot of new people coming into Organo. There's a lot of seasoned leadership in Organo that are bringing new people within Organo. But it really boils down to, why are you here? For me, I was in a very terrible place about 6 years ago now, where I just became a single parent. I wasn't expecting that. I decided that I was going to take a self-paid maternity leave. My background's in health and wellness. I loved every moment of spending time with my child. Every mother told me, you want to spend as much time with your children as you can. I did that. And then my relationship totally went south. I wasn't expecting that. It was really rude awakening. It was a total emotional trauma. And I realized I just couldn't be in the same space anymore. And I started to panic, because I knew I could see the Titanic was sinking. Sorry, the Titanic was sinking, because the writing's on the wall. And sometimes our inner being, our gut, our soul knows when things are not right for us. And I knew that this relationship, at the rate it was going at, wasn't going to survive. I knew that financially I had nothing else to fall back on. And I knew that I needed an opportunity that would guarantee me success if I was willing to do the work. And I didn't know what that looked like. But I knew that something had to change. And the work started for me was the paradigm shift. It was an energetic, emotional shift. It was my journey through understanding the laws of the universe and understanding that everything I was doing, I was creating, because I wasn't aware of my frequency and vibration, and that deep subconscious programming that I have to work towards and getting out of it. So that's essentially the reason why I joined Organo, was because here I am in a place where I'm at a crossroads. I got to make ends meet. I got to bring some income in. I want freedom. I want location freedom. I want financial freedom. I want emotional freedom. I wanted emotionally to be free. And that's ultimately what I wanted, was choices. And it was Dr. Bob Rakowski who came into my market, who was lecturing for one of the top nutraceutical companies in the world. He was my mentor already in my field of health and wellness. And I approached him on break at one of the lectures that he was giving. And I actually sought him for advice. And I said, Dr. Bob, how do I actually make money in this industry? And he said, Dianne, have you heard of Organo? I had not. He told me Jacob's story. He started sharing some incredible things. I just knew that I had to say yes, because I knew that if I partnered with Dr. Bob and Kelly Rakowski and the Rakowski family, no matter what, I couldn't fail. Because everything that they did, they totally rocked. And they were people of integrity. They already had many businesses that were already thriving. Why would they do this if it wasn't worth their time? So I just decided to say yes and jump in the water and get my gold pack, even though I knew nothing of network marketing. And that kind of brings me to this quote of Richard Branson. It reminds me of when I remember talking to Dr. Bob Bordoviano. And his quote here says, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it, say yes. and then learn how to do it later. And that is exactly what I did. I said, Dr. Bob, if you're in, I'm in, let's do this. I don't know what I'm doing, but heck, I'm going to ask questions along the way. And it is a learn as you earn process. And that's exactly it. It was a learn as you earn process. So I knew that I just needed to plug into the leadership, and I started doing what I had to do. Now, I remember in one of my very first training exposures, at the time, one of our leaders said, whoever holds the marker makes the money. And I decided I needed to do that. So I decided every week I would go out to my first distributor's house and start doing the presentation. It really sucked because I remember dedicating that whole month to holding the marker, but I couldn't get out of my way about talking around the business. So I remember one day driving in the snow, and I don't like driving in the snow. You know, it was 5 o'clock, it was dark, my son was strapped in the back, my mom strapped beside me, and here I am, I'm in my beginning career of Organo. You know, all the dreams are in my mind. All I wanted was an exit strategy. I so desperately wanted results. I'm putting in all the effort, and I get $5 in my back office. And I'm like, what do you mean $5? I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry because I had employee mindset. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I put in the hours. How could I possibly make $5? Does that mean that I'm gonna have to work hard for the rest of my life? And what will it take? And will I ever get there? And all that doubt started to show up. And that's when I remember wanting to turn around and holding back the tears. And I thought, I can't let my mother see me cry. I can't show up at my first prospect's home crying. You just got to trust, Dianne. And I remember holding the steering wheel going, just breathe and trust. I didn't understand the compensation plan. It was absolutely Chinese to me. This dual team right, left, this like, you know, I don't know. My gosh, there was so much jargon. It just wasn't in my personality. And I had no patience to sit down and learn it. I just wanted to execute. And I remember thinking to myself, Dianne, Dr. Bob and Kelly Rakowski would not be doing this if it wasn't worth their time. But ultimately what happened was it was a wake-up call. See, we change under extreme pain or we change under extreme pressure, but usually it's an emotional shift. So that was exactly it. I had to define the paradigm that I had to change, right? And a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behaviors. And almost all our behavior is habitual. They say our subconscious programming is severely laid down from the minute we're born till about the ages of 7. And then life is going to come along the way, and it's going to show things to you. You're going to have painful moments, you're going to have happy moments, but there are moments that are going to mark your life. And there's a lot of subconscious underlay that gets laid by our parents, by our family, by our society, by our boyfriends, by our girlfriends, by our relationships. Like it's happening all around us. So we're going to divide this into 2 massive steps. One is define the paradigm you have to change. I knew that I had to start changing some paradigms for me. And this Organo vehicle is a vehicle for change, self-development, abundance. Money flows through Organo. Organo is a vehicle that you can receive from, but your vibration and your paradigm has to be right. I talked about the energy entrepreneur a few months back. If there's recordings in the OG Academy worldwide, look for it, because I go very deep into the quantum laws of physics and quantum physics and what we're attracting. And it is so real. It's entrepreneurship is vibrational, just like everything else is. So the question here, step number 1, is we got to define what paradigm we actually have to change. And one of my paradigms, and there's many, and I'm still working on them, but one of my paradigms was absolutely just shattered. I remember going to my very first event, which happened to be with Eric Worre, Network Marketing GoPro. It's an event I go to every year. And it actually helped me change my paradigm. I sat there in the front seat, looking at Eric Worre, looking at Bob Proctor, looking at Tony Robbins, looking at Robert Kiyosaki, looking at $1 million earners stage, person after person after person for 3 days straight, irrelevant of the product. They were all talking about network marketing. Every single person on that stage made $1 million or more a year in commissions. When I saw press on nails, pots and pans, whatever, water filters, you name it, you know, these top earners bringing in that kind of income, I sat there going, OMG, we have a product people love. We have a product that people already do. We're upgrading their habits. Of course, you know, at that time, I was leading with the Organo product line, and it was the coffee. For me, that was just a no-brainer. So I said, you know what, let's just do this. So That's when my paradigm got shifted. I said, you know what? Holy cow. Network marketing is real. Let's do this. So the leadership role was huge for me because I realized in order to really make this work for me, for my standards, for what I wanted, for what Dianne wanted, location freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, that's what I wanted so desperately, that I knew I had to step into leadership. And leadership is really where the holy grail is at in network marketing. And you will all have the opportunity to grow into leadership shoes. Some of you already have skill sets that are going to be really powerful and going to help you on this journey. And they're going to be tools to help you get this journey off the ground. But here's what I know, as you could be an amazing coach. You could be the best lawyer. You could be the best doctor. You could be the best PhD researcher. If you've never done network marketing before, you don't know what you're doing. I promise you that. I have met top earners around the world in every single industry, and we've all had learning curves, and we continue having them. So there is some humble pie to be bitten and understood, and understand that you're going to go through that journey too. It's just a little shift. But if you have a skill set that's strong, oh my gosh, that can get you out of the gate real fast. But stay humble and stay open, because there's a certain skill set that comes with becoming a top earner in network marketing. And really, leadership development is all where it's at. So because I knew that I needed to change my paradigm and all that deep subconscious programming I had to get over, having shame of MLM, certain things that I wasn't sure if I was capable of doing, I knew that in order for me to get better, for things to get better, I had to get better. And your confidence will go up as your skills will go up. This is absolutely pivotal. It is 101 of any network marketing company out there. It's no different for Organo. Your confidence will go up when your skills go up. But how does that happen? It happens when you actually start implementing and going through the chain of the journey in developing a leadership capacity in MLM. So I like this, particular diagram. It talks about systems and campaigns. We have systems and campaigns. This is for the masses. The top is for masses. There's simple things people can do every day that are not scary, right? So examples of that: 4 Steps to Success is a system. Rapid Funnels is another system, the app. The campaign we just had, $9.99, $12.50 in Canada. We had that last month. And these systems and campaigns are designed for the masses. It's for the 20 people you sponsored, the 30 wholesale buyers, whatever. Everybody can do this because everyone is capable of doing that, because it's not scary. It's easy to do. Everyone knows it. Everyone does it. It works. And that's what needs to exist in order for a system campaign to be effective. But then, most of us, some of us, will decide we want to go a little deeper, and that's where we want to develop the skills. So we start now chiseling down the funnel, and we decide we have to develop a skill set when it comes to becoming a network marketing professional. If you want to earn 6 figures and above, you need to understand the skill set. You need to understand this is a business model. There are 7 skills to becoming a network marketing professional. I highly recommend the book, Go Pro Recruiting Mastery. I love the audio. It's $5 downloadable on your phone. You can listen to it in the car. That's going to give you the skill sets. But ultimately, it's the leadership development as to where you're going to find the holy grail. This is the rocket fuel that's going to get your plane off the ground and running. All momentum in at the beginning, and then it's actually going to just go into complete takeoff, and then at some point, cruise control. And that's ultimately the beautiful aspect of this business model, is cruise control, right? How many people drink coffee every day and want to drink it continuing? Tons of us. We know there's a market shortage. There's a demand, guys. That's a great thing. Arm your leaders in understanding that there's going to be skill sets to be developed. And you know what? You're going to have to mentally prepare your team that there's a shortage right now. But if you know there is, and you got to let your customers know, then the anger and the upsetness isn't so hard. And believe you me, every company goes through turbulent times, every single one. I am now part of a mastermind group with top earners around the world. Brian Carruthers, Haley Hobson, huge names in network marketing. And we all talk about the turbulent times. Every single company is going to go through it. If you know that, if you arm your team, if you educate your team, they're not going to decide this doesn't work. They just know that they have to become stronger leaders and be able to support the company while it's going through turbulence until the calming of the storm happens, which is why it's the best time to take market share. That's why we want to develop leadership, is because we have so much room for market share right now. Who wants a piece of the pie is really the true question to ask yourself. But a true leader is someone that's independent. They're a self-starter. They come up with solutions. They're consistent. They're able to communicate to their team a vision. And that's ultimately what it's about. What is your vision? And if you haven't casted one, start thinking about it. You know, if you're new, doesn't matter. Your vision is yours. It's all about creating your paradigm. So while we talked about step one is, you know, deciding what paradigm you got to start tapping into, this is where we want to ultimately create your paradigm shift and action plan. Because if you realize, you know what, these are some areas I got to work on. And some of the areas that are typically challenges for people are topics around time. You know, I don't have time. I don't have time. There's not enough time. How much of you are repeating that over and over that and creating your reality? Money. There's not enough money. I can't pay my bills. It's never going to be enough. I got to work 50 hours. What's your paradigm? What's that internal programming on money? What was your parents' habits around money? What kind of conversations happened around money? There could be some deep subconscious programming there that you're unaware of. Working hard. You got to work really hard. You got to put in all the hours. Really? Or do you want that paradigm to change? Because every possibility in the universe exists. It's just up to you to decide what paradigm you need to shift to make that happen. You know, for me, it was mindset. Network marketing, does it work? I don't know if it does. Until I had to see for myself and make a decision that I wasn't going to go back to that. And I started plugging in to audiobooks and other speakers and listening over and over again and allowing my subconscious mind to start creating a new reality for itself. You know, decide what paradigm you need to shift. According to Bob Proctor, and I have to say I've seen this actually happen in real time, there are two known ways to actually change your paradigm. Number one, personal experience or emotional impact, a shock, the diagnosis, the breakup. Sometimes something so painful, and usually it's painful, will change your paradigm. It's just going to happen. It happened to me. I had to get really down on my knees and really get that there was something in me that had to shift. Number two, the second way you change your paradigm is consistent repetition of ideas that are essentially the opposite of a paradigm that may be ingrained in your mind. So the idea here is to take the negative and put a positive spin on it. For example, I don't have time. Time is endless, and I make all priorities happen within 24 hours every day. Time is limitless, and I prioritize what makes me happy. Like, you need to change the negative and put it into positive. There isn't enough money, as opposed to I'm attracting abundance through multiple streams of income, and it comes to me easily and effortlessly. You know, you have to start changing that negative spin that's coming up for you. Radical honesty here is really important, guys. There's going to be a moment in your life where you need clarity. The best thing you can do is get really radically honest with yourself. What is it that you need? What area of the gap do you need to bridge? What kind of negative programming are you saying? Maybe you're not even aware of it, but start paying attention over the next couple of days or the next 24 hours and listen to yourself. What are you saying about time? What are you saying about money? What are you saying about abundance? What are you saying about love? Like, what areas of your life do you have to take a negative spin that you may not even know you're being negative about? And then we're going to start changing, putting a positive spin on it. And what we do with that, when you identify what area you want to start shifting, is that's the area now going to do a radical retraining, consistent retrain to your subconscious mind every day, twice a day, morning, night, because your subconscious mind never sleeps. But if we start spinning it, we reprogramming through repetition, that's where you'll start to have that reprogramming happening. I love certain tools. All these 4 tools I've actually used myself. I'm a fan of creating my reality because I realized that I had the power in me all along. And when I learned that, I started to become the observer. I started to understand what wasn't working for me. I started creating vision boards. You know, that you'll see that on the top left quadrant of the corner is a vision board. I still do this till today. You can ask my assistant, Vinita. I have every quarter I create a new vision board, power words, pictures. What do I want to create now? Because it stares at me every time I go to bed, and it stares at me every time I wake up in the morning. I'm a girl that still likes to cut out paper and create vision boards. Now, there's another tool called the mind movie. I've created mind movies. I love mind movies. You can get the app, you can put pictures, put a song attached to it. When you have a mind movie created of your future and you look at this mind movie before you go to bed or first thing in the morning or both, ideally, you're going to start now programming that subconscious mind, creating the reality of the future. See, your subconscious mind doesn't know what's real and what's not. It is a proven science. If many people know, or some people feel like public speaking makes them nervous, if I sat next to someone and I said, look, you're going to go on stage in 5 minutes and you have 5 minutes to prepare and we're going to put you up there and you're going to do a talk. And that person had no idea that they were going to do this. And I put them on the spot. All of a sudden, their heart starts pounding, they start getting nervous because they're already living in the future as if the body, the physiology starts to respond and it hasn't even happened yet. We see proof of this physiological changes in the body because of a concept or an idea. What if you spun it in a positive way and you gave your body a taste of its future, of a taste of a time limitless space of living? If you gave yourself, better health, if you gave yourself the freedom of not having to feel the pain of bills, to be able to pay the mortgage, whatever it is, if you could live in the future as if the brain, the receptor sites, the attraction, the law of attraction starts to happen. Pinterest is my other favorite area. Cheap and cheerful, open up Pinterest, get pictures of things that excite you. And last or not least, affirmations written down every day, write down to yourself, I'm happy, abundant, I'm thriving, I'm successful in organo. I'm a diamond, my team grows effortlessly. I attract business builders and entrepreneurs and people with open centered hearts. Like, get clear on what it is you need to narrate in your life and take an understanding, take inventory of what's negative that you may not even know that is limiting. Maybe not negative, maybe it's limited thinking, and let's recreate that. If you want to use all 4 quadrants, I use all 4. I do mind movies, I do Pinterest, I do affirmations, I do it all. I'm moody, I'll decide what day I'm going to do what, but be consistent with it every day. And I'm telling you, it's so much fun. Your world is going to change, but ultimately it is about changing that paradigm. It's so powerful. Water boils at 212 degrees. It doesn't boil at 210. It doesn't boil at 211. It doesn't boil at 209. Water boils at 212 degrees. It's a 1% shift, guys. 1% will change your world so drastically, so fast. And I promise you, if you come up with a new vibration based on your paradigm, on what you got to change, on that limited thinking, on changing and reprogramming the subconscious mind, it is a decision and it is your birthright to go and create it and make it yours. Whatever you want out of it. Organo is a vehicle to help you get there if you feel aligned with it. But it's that 1 degree shift where you're going to have momentum. And it's not going to be perfect and you'll have turbulent times. And it's a whole other paradigm of working within leadership, but it's beautiful and it's satisfying and it's real and it's there for you to take it. So really, when you get that paradigm shift and you start recreating the new thoughts, the new vibration, the negative, the limiting, and you turn it around, and every day it's like going to the gym, lift that weight, lift that weight, lift that weight, do those reps every day. You're going to develop muscles. It's biology. The brain is no different. You're going to create a new neural synapse in your brain, a new pathway. And there's something called a reticularity activating system that's going to now start looking for and attracting the things that you're calling, because what you want is wanting you as well. What you seek is seeking you. This is the law of attraction. It's quantum physics. Again, if you haven't seen Energy of the Entrepreneur, I went down this rabbit hole already. I didn't want to repeat myself. The recording is in OG Academy. I'm sure it's there. And you guys can pull it out. I did that a few months ago. I go deep into the science of the energy entrepreneur. It's about the science of the law of attraction. This has been my biggest passion, because the universe is always listening. It's always listening. And it's even listening when you decide not to step into certain shoes. So understand what you're saying no to. Because when you say no to an opportunity, when you say no to a speaking gig, when you say no to meeting a prospect, when you say no to taking a 3-way call, when you say no to not showing up for training and you'd rather watch TV instead, the universe is hearing that you don't want this. So be careful about what you're not showing up to and what you're saying no to. This story I learned about today, and I thought it was so rockin' awesome. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing it. Dr. Paul is a huge hockey fan. If for those of you that didn't know it, my Rockstar Rubies here in Toronto that helped me cast the vision of Organo, shared the story today. And it's the story of a hockey player by the name of David Ayers. David was passionate and still is passionate about playing hockey. And he is actually a local story. It happened here in Toronto. At the age of 27, that was about 15 years ago, he was given the diagnosis of a kidney that was failing, and he had to actually undergo surgery. He lost a kidney, had to go through kidney transplant. His hockey dream was over. His hockey dream was he wanted to play for the NHL. He wanted to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He wanted to be like in the big stars. And now he's given this diagnosis. He has to go this kidney transplant, and his hockey dream is literally over. So what are you going to do? I mean, he just stuck around the ice. He still played hockey part-time, so he got well enough that he could play part-time, but never to professional levels. He started getting a job as a Zamboni driver, cleaning the ice in the hockey rinks because he just loved the energy of hockey. It was his dream, it was his calling. That's what he wanted. So he decided to stay in the energy of the hockey field, still dream, still enjoy, and live with the understanding that, yeah, maybe not this lifetime, maybe next, but I'm going to love it. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to have fun. He just decided to have fun. And what happened was that there were two major hockey, game going on. Toronto Maple Leafs against another team. I don't remember the team it was. Not a hockey fan, even though when, it comes down to some good plays, I'm there. However, he was against another team, and the first goalie had injured himself. They had to kick him off. Find the replacement goalie. The replacement goalie shows up. He's playing the game. He gets injured, and they pull out the second goalie. They have no goalie. This team has absolutely no goalie to fill the net. What do? They call on David Ayers, and they're like, David, you have hockey. You play as experience. You're really good on the ice. We need you, man. We need you now. They throw him on the ice, okay? This is 15 years later. He's now 42. They throw him on the ice. They make him play the goalie. He helps block a whole bunch of goals. They win the game. And now it gets better than that. David Ayers gets his hockey stick, and his story is now entered in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Wow. That makes me really emotional. Think about it, guys. This is huge. This guy thought he would never live his dream. Even though these odds were against him, what were the chances of him being at the right place at the right time? Two goalies, that never happens. I think it's happened 3 times in the entire history of hockey. They have to call the Zamboni guy who works there. And he comes in, and now they're like, win the game. They throw him this huge party. He helps them win the game because he blocked a whole bunch of things that were going into the net. And now they enter him into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So powerful. You never know. There's a higher force that's watching you. And if you do that shift, I promise you, when you are ready, the universe knows. You cannot lie between you and what's higher out there for you. Your energy doesn't lie. It is so honest. So I promise you, do the homework. Decide what needs to change. Decide what you need to do to create the life that you deserve to live. Do it with integrity. Do it with an open heart. I promise you, every single force will be behind you to help you lead the way. Let's unite as an Organo family. We have so much to offer the world. And if we have real, true, powerful leadership from the heart, we become absolutely unshakable. So your homework tonight, if you want it, is step number 1, decide what paradigm needs to change in your life. Decide what that is. Is it around money? What programming around money are you going to change? And decide, is it going to be written affirmations? Do it tonight. Is it going to be a mind movie? Do it tonight. Is it going to be pictures on Pinterest? Do it tonight. And number 2, implement the action plan. You have to do it, even if it's just every night before you go to bed. The last thing you do before you turn off those lights. Look at your mind movie. Look at your Pinterest pictures. Write your affirmation. Whatever it takes, and then close your eyes and trust and be grateful for what you already have, because gratitude is the quickest way to manifestation, because it is the ultimate way to manifest is through gratitude. So change your paradigm. You'll change the way you create your results. Bob Proctor. Thank you, Bob Proctor, for sharing with us tonight. And the only limits in your life are those we impose on ourselves. So if you're not doing that, it's because you're choosing not to do it too. I'll leave you with that tonight, OG Toronto. Love you guys. Love this company. Love what we stand for. Let's get stronger through the challenges. because united we will be so strong. Prepare your team, arm your team with what's going to happen down the pipeline. They'll be in a stronger place with you and you'll unite together faster. Have a beautiful night. I hope you take action. I know I will, because this is our birthright, is to create a very powerful, powerful life. So I wish you all the very best. Have a super night, and we'll see you at the next event. Have a good night, everyone.